Welcome back, everybody. Yeah, it's me, Rudy, Alpha Investments. I know. Rudy, you made a video on core 2015 booster boxes, and because they spiked in value, and you sparked a complete fear panic, and now every core set from 2012, 13, 14 skyrocketed. Thanks. So apparently that's what's happened. Yeah. So I guess we can just talk about the situation. Overall, pretty much, as you're aware, a week or two ago, I made a video talking about how core 2015, the booster boxes had a buyout, and I talked about how on that particular product, I always had a hard time getting that product a couple years ago, and that one also had like a little bit shorter of a print run, and it kind of was just always difficult to get for a lot of stores compared to the core sets after that, Origins, and the core sets before that, 2014, which was a lot easier. And obviously, based on that, any common sense investor would realize, like I stated in the video, if the 2015 booster box is skyrocketed to $250 a box, the core 2012, 13, 14, which are the other previous core sets that have the same print run distribution style, post return to Ravnica, and those particular sets should not be $100 a box. You can't have a 7-8-year-old product like that has an expected value of almost $100 selling for $100 that has arbitrage opportunities and is going against the grain of the infamous Magic as the Magic product ages. The expected value and the sealed value start to kind of have that large, separation, that large variance. And, the core sets weren't experiencing that. It's been that way for years. So, after that particular video, for whatever the reason is, I don't know if it was one individual or a group, the market readjusted very quickly, and of course everyone says it's my fault for discussing the core 2015 situation. So, my opinion on the situation is, I'm surprised it took that long. If you want an honest opinion, like I stated in the previous video, I made the video in core 2015 because I was like, it's 2020. The product's 5 years old. And 2015 spikes and everyone goes, wow, and I was surprised by it. But I was more surprised that it was just one core set and not the others, because all the core sets tend to run together between that era. Unless it's core 2010 or M10, M11, or M19, M20, which are the newer. You have different blocks of sets. And I was very surprised that it took the market that long to wake up. And, it's just one of those things where, we're talking about products, everybody, M12, 13, 14, 15. We're talking about products that are between literally 7 to 8 years old, and then in 15 is only 5 years. 5 to 8 year old products. And, I guess people seem shocked that the price had that knee-jerk reaction. In my perspective, eventually the market was going to kind of realize the kind of inefficient pricing. I think eventually the market was going to wake up and say, hey, I don't know if those should be that cheap. That's kind of how I see it. I genuinely think that, in general, the market always kind of has that efficient frontier market theory where everything kind of prices itself in. Every once in a while, the market, slumps or falls behind or acts irrational. But the market always self-corrects. Now, usually these self-correcting times, which is what we're seeing on these vintage core sets, a lot of times, you have pretty much two types of people. Or actually, I guess three. You have type 1, Magic person A that says, wow, what a ripoff. Geez, who would pay that? The cards are worthless. And those are the same people that complain about every new set that comes out. Then you've got the second category of people saying, I'm surprised it took that long, which is kind of the boat I'm in. It's 7 to 8 years old. Then you have the third type of people that just say, well, who cares? It is what it is. I'm not going to buy it. So, everyone kind of sees the same situation a little differently, but at the end of the day, it's 8 years old. Like, if you want core 2012, if for the last 5 years you could get it on eBay or TCG Player for $100 a box, eventually, a vintage out-of-print Magic product is not going to stay $99, especially from, when it starts hitting 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years old. That's just how life works. Time changes the perspective of everything. I think what happens is when it has a fast reaction. That seems to be the most, when I kind of listen and just pay attention to everybody, and, I get bombarded from all these emails after the core 2015 video, I think the part that's interesting is that if a booster box moves up slowly in price, that's okay. nobody cares. But if a booster box goes from $100 a box to literally 48 hours later, it's 200 or 250. If it's a very aggressive short-term move on a small time frame, it makes a lot of people unhappy. But if that same time frame, I mean, honestly, the way I see it, like let's take Core 2012. Let's pick on the oldest one. Core 2012 or M12. If it's $100 a box from 2012 to 2020, over this 8-year time frame, I mean, the box probably should have gone up about $5-10 a year. You know, it should probably go up like 5% a year, some very slow, boring return. So in reality, that $100 box should have been like 115, maybe 121, 128, 136, 148, 153. It should have been more like that. But that's not how the real world operates. You have a lot of investments, even on Wall Street. You have stocks, bonds, all kinds of derivatives that just slingshot in prices when you have an underlying asset have a hard move. And that has bankrupted so many hedge funds, investors in society. It's always been that way. And the magic world's no different. You know, you see people all the time. Rudy, I'm going to buy out this 99-cent Homeland's reserve list card. I'm going to buy them all out for 99 cents. I'm telling you. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I hope it works out for you. But Rudy, what do you think? Would you do what I'm doing? No, sorry. But it's only like $1,000. I'm going to buy $502 Homelands or Fallen Empires or an Ice Age. Rare. It's only like 40 cents a card. I'm going to buy 500 of them. Okay. I mean, personally, I hope it works for you, but I don't see the value in putting $1,000 in a 40-cent reserve list Ice Age card that's been reserve list for 25 years. That's still 40 cents or even $1. That literally has no play. It's not iconic. And it's in a mass-produced set. It's not coming from a Four Horsemen set. It's not coming from ABU. You know, I mean, I hope it works for you. Sometimes it will. Sometimes it won't. I mean, we've done a lot of discussions, everybody, about the stone calendar, boom and bust. You know, the narwhals, the infamous, the wall of kelps. I mean, we've talked about this stuff. And maybe some people did make, honestly, actually, the people who probably make the most money in those situations, actually, it's probably the person who just has a bunch of bulk. They see the price spike, they go in their bulk bin, and they take like 10 of them out, and they just sell them all for $10-20 a card in the hype, and they just, because they didn't pay anything for them. It was in bulk. They probably paid a penny. Those are probably the people who make the most money, not the people buying all the cards for the $1, $2 a card, trying to unload them for 10. And that only net, what, 6 or 7 after shipping and fees? I don't think that's really where the money is. For me, I'd rather take the $1,000 and buy 10 boxes of Core 2012 for $100 a piece and just throw it in a closet and put a taco on it. That's what I'd rather do. I feel like over the next 5 to 8 years, that has a better probability of doing good versus, you know, some random jank card that, you know, you're just trying to hope people want from Ice Age or Homelands, you know? So that's kind of my response to the whole thing. I guess I'm surprised it took this long. You know, everyone, I really just think that, and I know I'm a broken record. I can hear the same thing over and over, everyone, but you know, oh, did the light turn? I caught it. I saw it blink in the lens of the camera. I actually caught it for the first time. Everybody says, Rudy, the creepy light. Isn't that crazy? I have no idea what it is. Those are touch lights. Hold on. Yeah, this is the quality content that I'm doing. I guess it overheats or something. Who knows? Here, I'll stand over here so the video looks balanced. All right, but the point is, everyone, I'm not really sure what to tell you all. I just don't think price movements or spikes or drops should make anyone upset. It's no different than saying, you know, you have a stock and you own a bond or any debt instrument on Wall Street and the price pops or drops. I mean, you just all of a sudden quit investing for the rest of your life? I don't think that's really a healthy way to look at things. I think the best thing to do with all this stuff is just to really, you know, that's why you diversify. If you're going to be an investor or if you want to collect anything long term, this is just par for the course of the behavior you have to deal with. And I think the people who are able to really have a level head and analyze long term, they're going to continue to make money. And I don't see this changing. No matter how people feel about every new product that comes out, nothing's changed. The more they change, the more they stay the same. I expect no difference over the next 10 years.